Welcome to Chamber Talk. Thank you for joining us, and I want to thank my special guest today, Mr. Royce Hall. Royce, always a pleasure to sit down with
Always.
you. You're a happy, spirit-filled person, and just enjoy being with you. Recently, you and I have got to spend quite a bit of time together because of an important topic that we've been discussing, and that's the 2020 census. And I've learned from talking with you just a little bit, and I'm so thankful. This isn't your first time actually working with the U.S. Census Bureau and working on the census. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. But before we get started, just in case there's somebody watching this show and they have no idea who Royce Hall is, give us a little background on who you are and where you grew up and a little bit about you.
Well, of course, I'm Royce Hall, and been living in Dublin, Lawrence County, Dublin, for all my life. Raised up in the country, and went to West Lawrence, and now work for Dublin, for the city of Dublin as an engineering drafter, computer designer. I've been doing that now for 23 years, and it's been a blessed years. I have great people to work with, and it kind of reminds me of the census because I have partnership with so many of our employees, and that we work together as a great team. So I've just been enjoying working with the city of Dublin and living in Lawrence County all my life.
And Royce, you enjoy a lot of extracurricular activities. I know you, I guess you enjoy photography. I see you taking a lot of pictures and things. You're involved in your church. Tell me a little bit about some of the things you do outside of work.
Yeah, the church is my first and foremost important thing. I got to be ready for my soul salvation. So I do love going to church and serving and doing God's will. And when that, I meet many people, many friends, and just show God's love. But my hobbies are, it's photography. But I've been very, very busy with a lot of things now, so I haven't been doing it as much as I have in the past. As you know, now I'm also the St. Patrick's co-chair, and that is taking extensive planning. And I've been working with the youth council, been working with, as a youth director at my church, and then also, just trying to pull people together to help it to be a better community. So I'm just a people person, so just trying to show God's will through me.
Well, I appreciate you and what you do, and I appreciate your friendship. You always have been a great friend to me.
Always.
So,
yeah.
Thank you. Royce, we're going to talk about the 2020 census. But before we get into that, I know you've worked some on the census in the past, and I know there's probably somebody watching the show. There may be some younger folks. I think a lot of time the older generation understands and they participated in the census, but let's make sure people know what it is and what it is not. So give me a 60-second elevator pitch, if you can, of what is the census?
Well, the census, of course, is, if you can say back in 1790, went way back, it's just to collect information of who's in the United States. We want to make sure that you can serve those that are in that United States or in that community. So what the census does, or what it is just a government operation to pull people together to help find resources. It's kind of like a budget in a sense. That's the way I always like to look at it, because if you're going to plan something, you got to have a budget. So the census is a budget in a sense. So it has to know who's in the area so you can allocate funds. There's funding for everybody, but you got to go ahead and do your part now. Is filling out the form when that time comes, the questionnaire, and filling that out so that people can, so that the federal government can allocate funds for you. But the census is there just to help us, just a complete count of who's in the United States. And it's nothing underhanded, it's nothing mischievous, it's something that's going to benefit us in the long run. And if we shape our future now, we can shape it in the future as well.
So I think, and what I heard you say is a count.
It's count.
It's probably the most important thing in there, and to sum it up, it is a count.
Right.
And we want to make sure people understand that the census is not trying to pry into your personal information.
Right.
We're not trying, and I say we're participating in helping out with this census. But no one wants to take your children away. No one wants to deport you. No one wants to take away any funding that you are receiving from the government. This is just a way to see who lives where, and demographics more than anything.
Right.
Like you said, and we're going to cover this in just a few minutes, but as far as funding goes, from the government, state, and local agencies, we've got to have these complete count numbers to be able to get all this information. So what we're going to do, we'll go ahead and take a real quick break, and as soon as we come back, Royce and I together, hopefully we can do a great job of explaining to you what the census is, what it involves, alert you of some scams, and tell you why it's so important that we need you to participate in the 2020 census. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jeff Cannon, President of Citizens Bank of Lawrence County. If you're presently a customer of ours, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for allowing us to be your bank. We appreciate the confidence you have placed in us and enjoy providing you with the most up-to-date banking products and services to satisfy your needs. If you're not a current customer, we would like to invite you to stop by and let us show you true community banking at its best. We concentrate on our local community, doing our part to make Dublin and Lawrence County a better place to live, work, play, and retire. We recently introduced 2 new products, eStatements and Access Now, our mobile banking app. Both of these products will help to make banking with us more convenient and will also help to provide you with a safer and more secure banking experience. So for all your banking needs, just give us a call or stop by and let us show you personal banking at its best. Citizens Bank of Lawrence County, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
Is your internet slowing your business down? If so, call the City of Dublin for our fiber optic based internet, 478-296-1008.
Welcome back. Royce and I are going to talk to you again today about the 2020 census that's coming up. And Royce, I want to jump right into your participation in this in the past, and tell me, you've done this. You went through the 2010, and so the census only happens every 10 years.
10 years, right.
So tell me a little bit about what that looked like when you did the 2010 census.
Well, actually, we can go back farther than that. The 2000 census. That's when I first started, and what that is a software called Luca. That's where the census wants the, as I explained earlier, wants the local governments to provide addresses, and those addresses are going to help the census to send questionnaires out, to send workers out to canvass the area. So they don't know where to go if there's not any addresses. And we want every address to be counted. And that's when I first started in 2000. And back in 2000, you know, that's more closer to DOS, kind of a software platform. It wasn't as hard, it wasn't as easy.
Laughing, I know, because there are some people thinking DOS. What
DOS,
is that?
yeah, that's a term I hadn't used in a long time. But anyway, as time progressed, you know, you had your 2000 census, you know, during my time. Then you had the 2010 census, you know, the next 10 years. And that's when it became much easier, much manageable. And that's, as I have gone to the workshops, that's what the census wanted to be more manageable. And that's why they're really trying to go into the electronic version of it. But there still would be electronic options to fill out the census, and there'll still be mail-ins and paper that you can fill out to do the census. But back in 2010, it was a breeze. After 2000, it was a breeze. But those that was getting into the census the way they're supposed to, I was helping them out. I was helping other municipalities out as well, as far as, and also going to regional centers with the Altamaha, Heart of Georgia Altamaha regional centers in Eastman and also in Vidalia to get adequate training. And that training helped me out throughout the whole process. And that's what it's all about. If you go ahead and learn the terminologies and learn what the census can benefit those out, it becomes much easier and fun. I was talking to Ron earlier that to me it has become like a video game for me, you know, just having fun at the computer. So.
Well, and you and I both have had some training on census, and you mentioned something during your conversation then about the difference in the 2000, the 2010, and now the upcoming 2020 census. That this census will be the first year ever that it'll be online, if I'm correct.
That's correct.
So we want to make sure people understand how to access the data. We want to make sure people understand, I think certainly it's safe to say there are a lot more scams out there
Yes, they are.
today than there were in the past. So we want people to be aware of that. We want people to know that the census is not going to ask for your bank account number. They're not going to ask for your social security number. They're not asking for your personal information. They want to know how many people live in your house.
Right.
They do ask questions like, are you a U.S. citizen? And again, no one's coming to deport you if you answered no. They just want to know how many people are living in the country that are legal citizens and how many are not legal citizens. They're not coming to take away your children if you say, well, there are 8 children living in my house, but I only gave birth to 2 or any of that type of stuff is clearly to collect data. To help. And then that data, Royce, tell our viewers how that data is going to impact our community, and not just Dublin, but all of Lawrence County.
Right. It's a massive undertaking when you dealing with the census. It's a big job, but using that census data to generate funds, as you was talking about, who was living in the house, and most important, they don't even want to know your name. You know?
Right.
They just want this information. If there are a lot of children in this area, they want to make sure that when people do apply for grants in the future, that they have the option. I don't want to use the word. I won't use the word earmark too loosely, but there'll be funds set aside from the federal government if you have a lot of children in this area. If there's somebody applying for a grant to open up a home for kids,
So child care
would help. Right.
Yeah.
It'll benefit, and of course, it benefits the seats in the Senate. Like I said, it benefits grants. It benefits, how you say, home living. If you're trying to open up a home, I think that's what's been. I don't want to use the word homeless home.
A shelter
or something of that nature. They may be able to get grants behind that. So.
Right.
But the federal government just need to know who's there so you can apply the money.
And you mentioned that count and that complete count, and a lot of folks, even here in Lawrence County, may not realize that we picked up 3 congressional seats during the last census due to the participation that we had. So if we, and we did not have 100%.
We did not have.
So if we were to get to 100%, we may even pick up additional congressional seats, which means more representation for our folks from our folks, which means we have more people in Washington and at the state level advocating on our behalf.
Right, exactly.
So if for no other reason, you would certainly want to do that. And people also, sometimes they get concerned with redistricting. And that's also
as well.
impacted by the count that comes in. But Royce, the number I think you and I both agree that's most impactful is the $2,300 per person over 10 years. $23,000 per person
each year.
And we did some simple math the other day and came up with a number on households, and we just guesstimated a couple of hundred households not participating, costing us over $9 million.
Right, and that number sounds good when everybody participate, but when they don't participate, that's when we lose out on those funds, and we're leaving money behind, and we don't need to do that.
So let's talk a little bit about, you and I have had several meetings already.
Great meetings.
And let's talk about why we're meeting and what we're trying to do.
Right, and this is all about partnership. As we spoke about our friendship, we have became friends and we are partners. And the Census Bureau, they're wanting us all to partner as partnership specialists. Once we work together, we become those specialists. That's government, education, just the individuals, community, clubs, churches, just work, faith-based organization. If you were to just work together as a partnership, we can make this census be what it is. We can shape our future, and by shaping our community.
So we're trying to form a complete count committee.
Right.
And that's going to consist of the city of Dublin, East Dublin, Dexter, Montrose, Dudley, East Dublin. Did I miss anybody? Dexter, Dudley, Montrose, Dudley. Anyway, all of our,
and you can nip it in the bud by saying Lawrence County.
all of Lawrence County, and we've got all of those folks, and that's great. They've agreed to come together. And we're going to put a team together. We're going to have somebody from the United States Census come and explain to us, so we can better explain to you. But our goal, whether that's realistic or not, is 100%.
100%.
We want 100% count here in Lawrence County because we want everything we can get
Right.
for our county.
Exactly. Right.
So our plea to you today is you're going to start seeing and hearing more and more and more. And I know it's only August, and we're sitting here talking about the 2020 census, but we want to make sure you're comfortable with this, that you know what it is and that you know what it is not. Right. So let's make sure, and Royce, you help me out on this. If you receive anything in your mail or your email between now and March of next year, more than likely it's a scam. March of next year should be when you start hearing from the U.S. Census Bureau, when they will start sending out workers in the field, some communication maybe through some emails or whatever means of communication, but not before March of next year.
Right. If I can interject right there as well, there'll be workers going out in March, but also there are workers going out now. They're canvassing the area. The addresses that were submitted by City of Dublin, I'm going to speak on that behalf. Though workers are going out canvassing the area just to let people know that we will be, the census will be coming out to give surveys. And I spoke with someone yesterday about this, those workers, and one of the workers came by the office as well the other day. And if anybody that's coming by your office, make sure that they have a laptop in their hand. Make sure they have a badge that says census and a bag on the side, a carrying bag that says United States Census. That's the official uniform for that census worker.
And those people won't be asking for your data.
Won't be asking for your data.
They're just letting you know we're starting to canvass the area and collecting addresses and things such as that. So if someone comes in and they're dressed and they've bought a nice T-shirt or had one embroidered and it says census, and they start asking you personal information, do not give it to them.
Right.
It's a scam.
It's a scam.
So you won't hear anything as far as collecting data before March of next year. Now they'll notify folks in early March, and then they'll give them some time, and I believe they have until about the end of April to complete the census.
Right. April 1st is considered the census day when everybody's supposed to put that data together, submit it. But if they don't do it that day, the census will send those workers out again and try to get those that have not turned their census information in. And they will follow up, just to make sure that the data is, that their information from the questionnaire was submitted. So they will have a list. And when most people do theirs electronically, the census will have the data instantaneously. And then they know how to manipulate that data and find out who has not has not filled out their questionnaire.
Right.
So that's going to be beneficial.
Royce, we got a few more topics we'll need to cover in the last little segment. We need to take one more commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
It's that time of year, time to fire up the grill, relax, and have some fun. Whether you're a grill master or a wannabe, the Big Green Egg will change the way you think about cooking. Georgia Pools has a large selection from which to choose. They carry a wide variety of accessories too, from charcoal, starters, to grilling tools, seasonings, and sauces. Get your own Big Green Egg cooking system for as low as $58.83 per month. And while you're waiting on that perfect steak to cook, relax in your very own Pawleys Island hammock. What better way to spend the summer days ahead? When you're thinking of grilling and chilling, think Georgia Pools, located at 1201 Hillcrest Parkway in Dublin. Call Georgia Pools at 275-3607.
Dublin Ford Lincoln is honored to call many wonderful people our friends. Bubba and Jan East are some of those friends.
I wanted to take my time, and when you put that kind of money into a vehicle, I wanted to get what I wanted. I didn't want any outside influences, and I felt like they allowed me to do that. I took my time and found what I wanted, and then they helped me get what I liked.
Others call you customers, we call you friends. That's Dublin Ford Lincoln.
Welcome back to the show again, Royce. Thank you so much for taking time out. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate you. Want to get right back into this census, and let's just talk a little bit about, there are actually some people get a little bit different looking request form than others do, and some are a little more lengthy than others, but please fill your form out as completely as possible. Would you speak to that for a second, Royce?
Right. When you fill the form out completely, you're giving the Census Bureau 100% chance to give a good demographic of the whole area. When you do half of it, and you don't, and also just be truthful about when you fill the census out, because that data is very, very important to the census. but most importantly, it's important to Dublin because they're using those numbers. You know, they're using those numbers to see who's here and what's in the area. You know, they will ask for income and what have you, as you said, but you know, just be truthful about it, and all that is going to do is just find out the medium of the income in the area. That's just one scenario. Right. And you know, you put your correct age. You know, some people, you know, don't want to give their age, but it's important to give the correct age so they can know how many people are here in Dublin, Georgia. For instance, for me, I'm 52 years of age, and you know, I live here in you know, Dublin, Lawrence County, and you know, I'm not married as well, so they may want to know how many single guys are in Dublin, Lawrence County, and they can use that to promote some kind of agency, you know,
well, and
or whatever.
I can tell you, even for people looking to relocate.
Relocate.
Before I came to Lawrence County, I looked at the latest census data to find out how many married people live here, how many children are here, how many school-age kids are here, what's the average median household income in Lawrence County, and certainly from a development standpoint, if a business is looking to locate or relocate into Dublin, Lawrence County, they want to know, well, what percentage of the population is over 50? You know, do I have a young demographic? Does my business appeal to younger people or older people? Maybe they want older, but that's why we need that data.
Need that information.
It's so important.
And it helps everybody everywhere. This is a true fact. Yesterday, a husband and a wife came by the office, and they're from Detroit, and they were trying to decide whether to move to Florida or to Dublin, and they moved here to Dublin, and they like it here, and they're enjoying it. But they did their research and found out how the you know, the area is.
But we got to have that data, and we want you to know the city. I'm so thankful, and all of the cities that I've reached out to. I appreciate our local mayors and our city managers being willing to come and participate and help out. We are going to work together. We have some different resources that we're going to be sharing with you, hopefully some different types of buses and other means of getting computers to you if you don't have access to complete the census. But we want you to know again, just like the old days, there will be some folks still out going door to door to collect data. We will absolutely make sure we let you know when those folks are coming and what they should look like, and even the questions they should be asking you, because we want you to be protected and safe. But again, it's so important that we have you participate. So whether it's coming to the chamber, the library, whether we're having a bus come out to your community, we're going to make sure that we can help you participate in this upcoming census.
And I'm going to say also, I spoke with Lance Jones, who's our city manager, and he was considering, after our meeting yesterday, putting maybe a kiosk or computer in the foyer of the City Hall, because we have a lady that works up front, and she can help assist in that area too as well. So it's important to go to those resources. And you know, I do want to miss mentioning this. You know, our Mayor Best is our House elected official for the City of Dublin. Everything comes through him, and he's always sending emails out, making sure that we are on task of getting this completed. So I just want to send that shout out to him.
Well, and I appreciate you guys at the City of Dublin. I appreciate all of our municipalities working together to show again what a great team that we have here in Lawrence County, and especially something as important as the census, that we're going to all work together on this, and we're going to all benefit from it. So
we're partnership specialists.
That's right. Royce, I sure do appreciate you and all the work that you do to help make this a great place for us to live, work, and play. And we appreciate you joining us, helping us make today and every day a great day for business in Dublin, Lawrence County.